Doctors, imagine this. What if you could make a decade's worth of salary in just 1 year? That sounds impossible, right? Well, I thought so too until I did it. And trust me, it wasn't luck. I didn't have an inheritance and I wasn't working harder. It was a system. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I made in 12 months more than doctors make in 10 years and how you can do it. And make sure to stick around to the end because I'm going to tell you exactly what to do next and start making this happen for yourself. I'm Dr. Simone Ellis and I sold a multiple $1,000,000 practice and retired at 40. But before I did that, I was just like you. I was overworked, underpaid, and stressed out of my mind. I was stuck in the same trap most doctors never escape until I figured out a formula, and now I help doctors break free from that financial grind so that they can live their life on their terms. And today I'm going to show you exactly how I did it and how you can do it too. By the end of this video, you'll know the #1 shift I made to change everything, the exact steps to multiply your income without working more hours, and how to make more money in 1 year than most doctors do in 10. And y'all know if this video helps you, make sure you hit the subscribe button because I drop new content every week on how doctors can create wealth, escape burnout, and live life on their terms. So let's get into it. So before I figured this out, I was drowning. Every month I was checking my bank account and my stomach would be dropping, y'all. It was literally because I didn't know if I was gonna have enough to pay payroll. And I remember one specific night, I was sitting at a table staring at my bank account. Payroll was due in 3 days, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna have enough to cover this. I was sick to my stomach, and I had gone through years of training, sacrificing my 20s, and yet here I was as a doctor struggling to pay my own staff. And then I made a huge mistake. I turned to Groupon. Do y'all remember Groupon? For a minute, it worked. I had so many clients, right? Patients flooding my office. My books were packed. And I was like, yes, I finally cracked the code. But then the moment that Groupon coupon was over, so were those patients. And that's when it hit me. More patients does not mean more profit. And I had built a system where I was working more and I was still barely surviving. And I knew something had to change. So the first step you have to do is you have to recognize that high volume does not mean high profit. And if you're constantly stressed out about money, you don't necessarily have to work harder. You just need to change your entire strategy. And so let me show you how I did that. I had to consider this concept called the wealth shift, and I had to stop trading my time for money. So most doctors think that by making more money, they need to work more hours, but that's the biggest lie we've been told, because the truth, wealth isn't built by working harder, it's by creating money that works for you. And the moment that I stopped thinking like a doctor and started thinking like an investor, everything changed. So I want you to start thinking about, instead of asking these questions of how many more patients do I need? How much overtime can I pick up? I had to start asking myself, how can I make more money while I'm sleeping? And how can I own assets instead of a high paying job? And that's when I unlocked this formula. We have to stop thinking like a worker and we have to start thinking like a wealth builder, because doctors stay broke because they rely 100% on active income. And you have to start creating passive and leveraging that income. So let's get into exactly how I did that. There's a 3-part formula that changed everything for me. So step 1, I invested in the efficiency of my own business. So instead of chasing more patients, I focused on the profit per patient. So I had to streamline my office and adding higher value services. For me, it was clear aligners and veneers, and I stopped undercharging for my expertise. I learned how to bundle services to increase my treatment value, and I restructured my team so I could just focus on the high impact cases. And I automated parts of my practice that were drowning my time. The moment I focused on working smarter instead of working harder, my income skyrocketed and my stress started to disappear. The next step is investing in my own industry. Most doctors only invest in stocks and real estate, but I realized that I had a huge advantage. I actually understood what was going on in my industry. I put money into global staffing companies for doctors and hygienists because I saw that there was a huge demand in my own office. I was always calling a staffing agency. So then I figured out a global one and I put my money in there. I invested in companies like Align Technology because I knew how many patients wanted clear aligners because they were coming in my practice. I remember the first time my investments in healthcare staffing company paid off big, and I thought to myself, like, why didn't I do this sooner? I've been surrounded surrounded by opportunities this whole career, but I never saw them until I started thinking like an investor. So doctors, if this video blew your mind, I want you to make sure you hit the subscribe button because I'm dropping a full breakdown next week on how I made my first 6 figures in passive income. And if you're ready to start building wealth, check out my next video on how to retire in 10 years, even with med and dental school debt. This is where I break down the exact steps on how to escape the grind and start building wealth and a way out starting today. Hit that like button if this helped you and subscribe more, and I'll see you guys on my next video.